When you're watching this, I'll be on holiday. Woohoo! Yes, I will be in Gran Canaria when you're watching this. So I'm Lily, I'm from Crafting Through Mental Health, and today we are talking about S.A.D, which is Seasonal Affective Disorder, if I can get out. So it is that time of year again. I'm now currently wearing a scarf because I'm so ready for fall. It affects a lot of people, S.A.D does. So what it is when it's sort of more sort of winter, very sort of dark, less sort of hours in the day for the sunlight, people do get quite depressed. It affects about 500,000 people in the US, which annoys me because I'm British and they don't really normally do British statistics, but hey ho, affects a lot of people, and it does tend to affect people that are more on the north side of the equator or very south of the equator, just because there is less daylight hours and sort of less warmth. It gets quite cold here, and I get, because when it's grey, it's rainy, it's miserable. I mean, it's September now, so we're in like autumn sort of time, end of summer. It's already, I'm looking out the window, it's already miserable, grey, cold, and that will probably last in England until about sort of March, April at earliest, May. So it's quite a long time to go through that thing, and it does affect a lot of people. I know quite a few people that are affected by this. It does tend to actually run in families as well, but I think a lot of mental health issues do as well. Depression does, anxiety does. So I feel like how people's brains are wired also kind of linked to genetics with mental health as well. It's not always the case. You can have a family of no one suffering from mental health and you getting it, but it does tend to sort of run in the family as well. When I was researching for this video, I was actually quite shocked. There is sort of an opposite of this. Some people can, and it's a lot rarer than the sort of winter side of it, but you can actually get it in summer as well. People have trouble sleeping. I guess maybe people don't cope with the heat as well. So I was quite shocked at that, but you can sort of get a rarer condition of it. All ages can suffer from this. It does tend to be sort of more adults rather than like children, like adults after about 20. But it does seem to decrease the older you get, which I find is quite... The people I know that sort of suffer from it are sort of on the more older, maturer sort of side of things. But like I said, any sort of mental problem can be sort of effective in any sort of age. Majority of the time, some are exceptions to that. What a lot of people find when they do suffer from a seasonal affective disorder, I'm just going to call it S.A.D, guys. I'm going to call it S.A.D, even though I don't really like that because it's... I'm not a fan, but I get it. Anyway, people that suffer from it do tend to sort of have sort of disturbed sleep. They sort of feel a bit more like, ugh. I think a lot of people do get like that in winter, but the problem is it tends to be more every sort of year, and also it lasts longer. Like depression, you can have really bad down days, but depression does normally last over 2 weeks. But you sort of feel yourself going, oh, and even I can feel it. I wouldn't say I have it, but I find that in summer it's a lot more exciting because you're like, I can go out in the evening, yay! But sort of in winter, you're going to work in the dark, you're coming home in the dark. Sometimes you leave your lights on all day, and it can just be very sort of miserable. You can feel yourself sort of just deflating. If you do feel the cold, like I find over winter, I feel like I'm always cold. I get into bed, I have my heated blanket, and I feel like I'm defrosting my feet. And that is miserable. It's miserable. You don't have festivals. You don't have, you know, big things to look forward to. Some people don't enjoy Christmas, and you can see why that cycle can get quite bad. And you know, there are things to look forward to. Like I said, there is Christmas. There are things to look forward to. I'm looking forward to fireworks and stuff like that. And I guess, you know, it is very similar. It's a type of depression. So the treatment is very similar to types of depression. Sort of get organised, get out with your mates. There are things to do in the winter. Every British person knows we have to deal with it a lot. So there are things you can do. Yes, it does get a little bit more expensive, but there are things online that are like things you can do that are free. So other than like the cinema and stuff like that, but there are websites that can help you sort of, maybe like TripAdvisor, find free things to do if you are feeling a little bit more low on money. But there are things you can do. There are Christmas markets coming up, like I said, firework displays, you know, lanterns, and there's little pretty sort of things going on. Meet up with your friends, meet up with your family. If you find that difficult, if you're a little bit more like of a home bird, then pick up a new hobby. What a good sort of hobby to start in the winter is sort of maybe knitting or crochet. Get a project on. There's always something to look forward to. There's always something you can work on. And that just helps you get out of the loop of, I've got nothing going on right now. It's dull, it's grey, it's miserable, and I've got nothing to look forward to or do. And if you have nothing to fill your head in, it's sort of, you cycle in your head the same things over and over again, the negative thoughts. Where if you do have something to work on, if you want to improve a skill or a musical instrument or something like that, it kind of takes your head out of the depressive state and into something else. I feel like a lot of the problem as well is the fact that we do stay inside, and it, you know, fresh air is really good for you. I don't know what is about fresh air. I always find my anxiety gets better when I'm outside. You know, I've got that fresh air rather than being even cooped up inside all the time. You get cabin fever. So go outside. It's not raining all the time. You know, at the moment it's grey and miserable, but wrap up with a scarf, get a coat on, get your little mittens on. Maybe not this time of year, but a little bit later on. And I always think it's quite cute having like a little hat, you all sort of mittened up, and go for a walk, you know, for a walk in the woods. That's why it's really good to have like a dog or something, because then people get talking to you. Another big thing with depression is loneliness, and that is really hard to cope with. So maybe try socialising, join a club if you can, or there's a great app called Bumble, you can meet friends on there. Another one called Meetup, they show local events and stuff like that. So get up to something like that. Another thing as well is if you have a daylight lamp or a sun lamp in your room, so it sort of works on a cycle of the sun, and I think you set it at different times. So it'll kind of lighten up the room a little bit more in the morning than it is outside, because it's always dull and miserable. And then over the day it gets brighter, and it just helps your head get back into the routine. They are expensive. I was thinking of getting one when I was a lot younger. They are expensive, so they might be cheaper now, but they are, you know, if you have no money, then they are on the pricier side. But, you know, obviously if you have no money, then that's sadly the case. But if you can afford one, they are quite good. From what I've heard, I've never had one personally, but I've even been recommended from, I remember my therapist recommended me them, and I looked it up and I was like, it's £100, like, I was under 18 at that point, where do you think I got £100 from? Another idea is maybe taking tablets. So sadly in the winter you do lack in vitamin D, you lack in sort of, is it the vitamin B's? C's maybe as well? Zinc? You lack in vitamins. You might want to have a Google research on this one, but you know, you do, especially D, you're lacking that sort of thing, so you might want to find some like vitamins and maybe take that. That can kind of help just boost your ego a little bit. Maybe eating foods as well that are healthy for you. Sadly with depression, if you keep eating junk foods and sugars and stuff like that is not very good for you. This is from the biggest hypocrite ever to say that, because I had a McDonald's and a Frankie and Benny's yesterday. Yeah, I know. I work right next to a McDonald's. What am I meant to do? But yeah, so try and sort of eat on a healthier side. Fruit and stuff like that. It is a little bit more trickier in winter time because I find it, I'm not the biggest fan of the whole veg and all that, but I do like salads and stuff like that, which you tend to eat more in summer. But you can still get some on the supermarket and stuff like that, so maybe have a hunt around and remember that your diet does affect your mood quite a lot. The others is the classic, get enough sleep, open your windows, like I said earlier, get out some fresh air, have a good project, talk with people. If you feel like you are getting quite low and stuff like that, telling someone always helps, because they can help you through it, and also they can kind of alert you on warning signs as well if you are kind of feeling that way again. Sometimes it's helpful if someone goes, you realise you are acting a little bit like this, and you're like, oh, I didn't realise that. That's might be because I'm feeling a little like this and I didn't realise it was affecting myself so much. Also to remember that winter doesn't last forever. It will come to an end, and a lot of things with anxiety and depression, even though you're going through something really hard right now, it will get better and you will feel better in the long term. Do you know what I'm looking forward to in the winter? Costa. Yep, love going to a coffee shop. It's all cute. I don't drink coffee, but I do like hot chocolate. Get all that good steam. You just got to try and focus on the good parts of winter as well. But I hope this video helped you. If you have any other tips, let us know down in the comments. We can have a chit chat about it. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and also subscribe. I do have a vlog channel as well, which my holiday will be vlogged on. So check that out. And also I do have a shop as well. I am away at the moment, so I can't post anything until I'm back. But I am back on Tuesday, so check that out as well down below. Love you guys, and I'll see you next week.